Welcome back to another episode of the Black and Rojo Post. My name is Will, and today we are previewing DC United's Week 2 matchup versus Austin FC. The Black and Red are traveling down to Austin Q2 Stadium for a 2:30 p.m. Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Sunday kickoff. Early afternoon, I absolutely love it. It's going to be a warmer game. It's going to be in the 80s, and Austin FC has the record for most consecutive sellouts at home, so I expect nothing but a sellout for this game, so it should be rowdy and wild. If any fans are making the trip down there, enjoy it. Good barbecue, I hear. Let's not get off topic here, but anyways, Austin FC is considered heavy favorites in this game, which is very surprising. So DC United is considered more of an underdog in this game than they were Week 1 versus Philly. Even with all the injuries that Austin FC has, their top two players, I want to say top two players, but one of their better players, Brandon Vazquez, is considered one of the better players, is out as he's still dealing with an ACL injury he suffered last season. Owen Wolff is also out for this game as he's dealing with a sports hernia injury. But here enters Facundo Torres, who's going to be a problem for DC United in this game. They just acquired him from Palmeiras, former Orlando City player who has amazing seasons in 2023 and 2024. He is now the midfielder who's going to be anchoring the possession and distributing the ball. The good thing for this matchup is that DC United doesn't have to worry about their strikers as much. Since Brandon is not going to be there, he's a presence that really is a bully in the box. Similar to what Ty Baribo brings to us and Benteke was for DC the last couple of years. So what happened week 1 for Austin FC's 2-2 tie versus Minnesota United? Well, before we get into that, let's discuss it. Well, we already touched on injuries. Expect Brandon Vazquez to be out. Expect Owen Wolff to be out. Robert Taylor suffered an injury in the last couple of minutes of the game versus Minnesota United. Robert Taylor had a fantastic game week 1 for Austin FC. If he is out for this game, that's a bigger blow for them, as he sustained that injury in the last couple of stretches of the game, which eventually did lead to Minnesota United tying the game by Kelvin Yeboah in the 90th minute. So Austin FC is going to be upset. I mean, this is a team with high expectations. This is a team who, led up a 2-2 victory, home opener, first game of the season in front of their fans. And there is no way they're going to lose 2 consecutive games. They are probably one of the better teams at home. And historically speaking, we are one of the worst road teams. So if this is really a different DC United team, I think a big win is getting a point. Of course, I would love 3, but I think a win in itself for our current state of the roster, how we've done the last couple of years, and let's not even talk about history. DC United, since Austin FC has entered this league, is 3-0 versus DC United. We have not beaten Austin FC. It's not been a tie. It's just been victories for Austin FC's side. So we need this win. So if we look at the game log for Austin FC versus Minnesota United, Minnesota United had a total of 11 shots and 8 shots for Austin FC. Austin FC had 6 shots on target compared to Minnesota's 4. Possession was basically even, and Austin FC lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Unzuni up top, which is their striker, and Facundo Torres, their big offseason acquisition from Palmeiras, who is a former Orlando City player who spent time in 23-2024 with them, had great 2 years there in Orlando City before making the jump to Serie A. And Torres looked dangerous, linking up in space in their Week 1 matchup. He's definitely a player that DC United has to really focus on if they want to win this game, or at least tie this game. If they really want to win this game, they have to shut down Facundo Torres' passes, lower his distribution, make it a headache for him offensively. Austin FC head coach Nico Estevez had a press conference for their matchup versus DC United, and he was asked about Ty Baribo and what are the dangers that he brings. His response to that question is, Baribo is constantly shifting, drifting, adjusting his angles, and finds space when defenders lose track for half a second. When the opportunity strikes, he's always itching to score a goal. Not his exact words, but that's basically what he said about Ty Baribo. Yeah, he's dangerous in the box, very lethal with the way he uses spacing, and if the service is there, he's always aiming to score a goal, as you should as a forward, right? So what does Austin's 4-2-3-1 formation mean for the players that they have on this roster? So that means Torres is underneath the striker, width from the wings, double pivot controlling the tempo. But here's the key. They're missing their traditional target presence up top, as we mentioned, in Brandon Vazquez, and they've had to adjust last game versus Minnesota United, and they'll continue adjusting this game as well. Without Vazquez, they don't have that bully in the box, as we mentioned as well. If DC United's back line is disciplined and doesn't overcommit, opportunities will come in the transition. One of the big questions is, why is DC United really considered this big of an underdog? I'm not a gambling man anymore, but it's insane that the 2025 Supporter Shield winners, we had better odds of beating them compared to what Vegas is saying about our matchup versus Austin FC. For DC United, it'll be interesting what kind of lineup DC United uses. If Aaron Herrera is back, are we going to see a combination with Kurakawa and Herrera, or is Hefty still going to play? It's going to start this game. It's going to be very interesting. I think Hefty had good moments versus Philly. I'm really excited to see the consistency of Jackson Hopkins. Bro Pirani is actually one of the few players that has had success versus Austin FC in the past. So expecting him to be a focal point as well. Feed the ball to Ty Baribo. And I really want to see more of Luis. Will Luis Montanu play this game? Will he start, or is he going to be more used in that super sub role? I know Renee has mentioned that they want to ease him into the lineup, get better acquainted with the players, what his objectives are as a player on this team. So it would be really interesting to see what formation we use. If you were to pick a player that is that must have a big performance for us to win, who are you going with? I think for me, I think Ty Baribo is the most obvious answer because he is our offense. But I think for this team to beat Austin FC, the player that needs to be big is going to have to be Jackson Hopkins, because he was pivotal in he had a great game versus Philly. There were some chances where he held onto the ball way too long, causing turnovers, Philly grabbing the ball from him. But he needs to be more decisive, and he needs to be more decisive with his decision making. I love how he can weave through defenses, but sometimes if you're doing it too long, the defense is just going to take the ball away from you. So I think Jackson Hopkins is going to be key for us to win this game. What are your thoughts? That's it for our preview of DC United versus Austin FC. I'm excited. We get to play another game, this time Sunday at 2:30 p.m., which is great. This is Will with the Black and Royal Post. Vamos! We're also on TikTok. Now. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're also on Instagram as well, and I'll leave the plugins here. This is Will with the Black and Royal Post, keeping you posted. Vamos!